This is Culture Girl. We've taken you around the exterior of the new Boston Museum of Fine Arts in previous Culture Girl videos and Culture Girl posts. Now let's go inside, shall we? One of the first things you'll come to after you enter at Huntington Avenue is this beautifully restored Sargent Rotunda with these murals that you see in the dome, surrounded for Christmas by some decorations around the circumference. And inside the rotunda is a marvelous show of works by Sargent, which we'll take a look at in a moment. Who needs to go to the National Portrait Gallery's Hide-Seek exhibition in Washington when you can see this right here in Boston? This is John Singer Sargent's nude study of Thomas E. McKellar, who is also the subject of a drawing in the Hide-Seek show, which is very much more demure than this full frontal version. Now we arrive in the big courtyard of the new Norman Foster wing, which is being used, as you see, as a cafe. I ate here, I enjoyed it. And unlike the other critics, I didn't find it sterile or corporate or uninviting. It's sunlit. When it's animated by a big group of people, it feels quite wonderful. And as you can see through the window at the left, you can look at the facade of the old building through the expanse of glass in the new building. And here the facade of the old building is brought right into the courtyard on this wall, which is fitted out with some Christmas trees for the season. Let's now advance towards the Art of the Americas galleries. As you see, there's a gold rooster at the far end of there, and that is the sign for the entrance to the new galleries. And these are the stairs that'll take you to the various levels. There are 4 levels in these galleries. You will most likely be coming in on the second level, which we will enter right now. And who do we confront as soon as we enter those first galleries? It's, of course, Copley's Paul Revere, a signature work of the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, and accessorized here with cases on either side of silver created by the silversmith Paul Revere. And here's one of those silver teapots that he made, which is right next to the portrait by Copley. As you probably know, the Boston Museum of Fine Arts has the biggest collection of Copley anywhere in the world, thanks to the generosity of Bostonians. This portrait of Rebecca Boylston is probably my favorite Copley. Copley had a knack for depicting intelligent women and showing their perspicacity in their demeanor and in their face. Here she is closer up. She was 40 years old when this portrait was painted, and she was the head of a very grand house that her brother owned. And again, you can see that Copley understood intelligent women. Now we move up a level to the 3rd floor and greeted by another one of the Boston Museum's really signature works, Sargent's Daughters of Edward Darley Boyd. Like Copley, Sargent is extremely well represented in the collection, probably the most comprehensive group of Sargents anywhere in the world. And this painting, like the Paul Revere, is accessorized. These vases are the very vases that are seen in the painting. The Boyd daughters are also accessorized by the Boyd parents, Edward Darley Boyd, Mary Cassatt's in the loge is likewise accessorized. Here you see the woman looking down at the theater with her binoculars and holding her fan in her other hand. And here we see, in a little exhibition called the Mary Cassatt's World, we see a fan and some binoculars. Not too many American art museums still retain period rooms, but Boston is one that has quite a few. This is the Shepherd House in Maine, and like most such period rooms, it's a pastiche. The wallpaper is original to the room. All the furnishings are objects that are like those that might have been in such a room during this period of time, but they are not original to the Shepherd House. Navigation can be a little tricky in this new Art of the Americas wing. This is the most vexing part of it. There are these double glass doors that lead to a passageway, and it's not clear that you're supposed to go through that walkway to the other end and go through those other glass doors to remain in the circuit of these Art of the Americas galleries. I think more signage is urgently needed. What I did like were these little areas of respite where you could glance outside at the scenery and at the cityscape, and also at the same time have a look at a sculpture that was strategically positioned in these little spaces. It's time for a bathroom break, and what a great bathroom. Probably one of the nicest bathrooms I've ever seen in an art museum, with lovely flowers on the counter. And ample stalls. I don't think there'll be anyone waiting online, but as you can see, even the most well-designed places sometimes have their glitches. Speaking of glitches, the galleries on the fourth floor, we've now moved up a level, for modern and contemporary art, really are still works in progress. Many critics have noted that the collection here is spotty, and I think the curators themselves acknowledge that they still have some work to do in this area. Now, from the fourth floor, we're going to take the elevator all the way down to what's essentially the basement. It's really where the chronological sequence begins, but in this case, most of the people will come in on the second level, as we did, and maybe find their way down here. As you can see, these are not very trafficked galleries. It's kind of a hodgepodge. It's art of the Native Americans, of of Latin America, early America, and some maritime art is thrown in. It's kind of a hodgepodge of various things, and not terrifically successful to me. It doesn't seem to put this art on the same footing as the rest of the works upstairs, although the museum is proud of bringing these work into the American galleries. And here's a case of American Indian pottery from those lower level galleries. Now that we've made our way through all four levels, I think it's time for us to begin to head out to the atrium again, the courtyard again, and back out to the street. So here we are with the last look at the big courtyard, now no longer being used as a public cafe, but being set up for the other use that these big, vast courtyards are always intended for. It's party time, and they're going to be celebrating the opening of a new exhibition, but we, alas, are not invited, so we're now going to take our leave.